Europe, early 20th century, a continent of empires. Old rivalries simmered, new ambitions burned bright, nations stood proud, their flags waved high, but beneath the surface danger grew, like a gathering storm, a fragile peace held, barely. Great powers eyed each other, with suspicion and with fear. Germany was rising fast, its industry boomed, its Kaiser dreamed big, Britain watched from its island, its navy ruled the seas. France longed for lost provinces, a deep wound from a past war. The air crackled with unspoken threats. An arms race had begun, nations built bigger armies. They forged deadlier weapons, new battleships slid into the sea, each one a promise of power, or a threat of destruction. Military plans were drafted, secret strategies for a war. A war many thought was coming, a war some even welcomed. Alliances crisscrossed the continent, a tangled web of promises. Germany and Austria-Hungary stood together. Italy joined them for a time. Opposite them, France and Russia. Great Britain hesitant at first, but drawn in by old ties. One spark, it was feared, could ignite the whole of Europe, and then the world. June 28, 1914, a sunny day in Sarajevo. Archduke Franz Ferdinand visited, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. The city was tense, part of a restless empire. Serbian nationalism was strong, a desire for independence burned. Few knew this day would change history forever. Young men plotted in shadows, Serb nationalists full of fervor. They called themselves the Black Hand, their target the Archduke, a symbol of Austrian rule. The first attempt failed. A bomb bounced off the car, but fate had other plans. A wrong turn, a stalled vehicle. Gavrilo Princip stepped forward, shots rang out. The Archduke was dead, his wife Sophie too. News spread like wildfire. Shock, outrage, grief. Vienna, the Austrian capital, roared. They blamed Serbia. They saw a chance to crush their troublesome neighbor, to assert their dominance. The world held its breath. Austria-Hungary issued an ultimatum, a list of harsh demands. Serbia agreed to most, but not all. It was not enough. Germany gave Austria a blank check, full support for any action. Russia, protector of the Slavs, stirred. It began to mobilize its vast army. The dominoes started to fall, one by one, towards war. The declarations of war came quickly. Austria-Hungary against Serbia, then Germany against Russia, then Germany against France. Europe plunged into darkness. The lamps were going out. Across the continent, men answered the call. Millions flocked to enlist. A wave of patriotic fever. They believed it would be short. Trains rumbled across borders, packed with young soldiers, singing songs full of hope. Home by Christmas, they cheered. They did not know what awaited them, the true face of modern war. Factories churned out uniforms and guns and bullets. Horses were gathered from farms. The machinery of war cranked into life. Goodbyes were said on station platforms. Tears streamed down faces. Mothers hugged their sons. Wives kissed their husbands. Children waved small flags. Promises were made. To write, to return soon. A generation marched away, full of youthful confidence, into the unknown. Germany's plan was bold. The Schlieffen Plan. Invade France through Belgium. A swift, decisive victory. But Belgium was neutral, its neutrality guaranteed by Britain. When German troops crossed the border, Britain declared war. The conflict was now truly global. The Great War had begun. The dream of a quick war died fast. It died in the mud of the Western Front. Armies dug in, for protection, for survival. Trenches scarred the landscape, hundreds of miles of them. From the Swiss Alps to the North Sea, a vast network of ditches. This became their world, a brutal, unforgiving home. Life in the trenches was hell, mud, thick and clinging. It swallowed boots, men, hope. Rain fell endlessly, the trenches flooded, soldiers lived in filth, rats grew fat on rations. And on the dead. Lice tormented their bodies, disease spread like wildfire, trench foot, dysentery. The days were a grim routine, stand to at dawn, peering over the parapet, into the desolate no-man's land. Fear was a constant companion, the whine of shells, the crack of a sniper's rifle, the dread of a gas attack. Boredom was broken by terror, or by the order to go over the top. Night brought its own dangers. Patrols crept into darkness, repairing barbed wire, raiding enemy trenches. The smell of death hung heavy, mixed with smoke, mud, and chemicals. The psychological toll was immense. Men broke under the strain. Shell shock, they called it. A generation scarred, body and soul. Section 5, Fields of fire, the great battles and their toll. The generals demanded breakthroughs. They planned massive attacks. The Battle of the Somme, 1916, a British offensive. The first day a disaster. Tens of thousands fell. For weeks the slaughter continued. Men walking into machine gun fire, the ground churned by shells, a landscape of craters and corpses. At Verdun the French held firm. They shall not pass. A brutal battle of attrition. Germany aimed to bleed France white. For months the fighting raged. Forts changed hands many times. The land became a moonscape. Millions of shells were fired. The human cost was staggering, a symbol of horrific endurance. Passchendaele, another name for horror. 3rd Ypres, 1917. The rains came early, turning the battlefield into a swamp. Mud so deep, men drowned in it. Guns sank, tanks bogged down. Soldiers advanced at a crawl, under relentless fire. Each yard gained cost dearly. The futility was soul-crushing. New weapons made killing easier, more efficient, more terrible. Machine guns mowed down attackers. Heavy artillery rained destruction. Poison gas choked and burned. Chlorine, phosgene, mustard gas, tanks, a new invention, clanking monsters on the battlefield. Airplanes fought in the skies. War had become industrialized death. Section 6 Distant drums, shared fates, colonial soldiers in the Great War. The Great War was truly a world war. Millions of soldiers from colonies around the globe, from India, Africa, and the Caribbean, from Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, they answered the call of empire. Some fought for loyalty, others for adventure or pay. Some hoped for greater freedom after the war. They fought on many fronts. Anzacs at Gallipoli, a brave but doomed campaign. Indian troops on the Western Front. African soldiers in East Africa and Europe. They faced mud, shells, gas, and discrimination. Their sacrifices were immense. Many had never left home before, and they saw new lands, new cultures. They endured harsh climates. They fought with courage, earning medals for bravery. Yet, their stories were often unheard. Their contribution was vital. They provided manpower and resources. Their blood mingled in foreign fields. The war changed them, and it changed their homelands too. They returned with new perspectives, and ideas of self-determination grew. The seeds of independence movements were sown in the fields of war. The empires would never be the same. Section 7. The Home Front's Sacrifice, a world remade by war. The war was not just for soldiers, it was a total war. Civilians felt its impact deeply, as every part of society mobilized. Governments took vast new powers, controlling factories, farms, and lives. Food was rationed, and fuel was scarce. Every citizen had a role to support the war effort. Women stepped into new roles with men away fighting. They filled the empty jobs in factories, making shells, on buses, driving trams, and on farms tilling the land. They were called munitionettes. Their work was dangerous, yet vital. They proved their strength and capabilities beyond doubt. Propaganda posters appeared everywhere, urging patriotism and sacrifice, demonizing the enemy, and keeping morale high. News from the front was censored. Defeats became setbacks, and losses were downplayed. Truth was another casualty of war. People clung to hope and to letters from loved ones. The war came home from the skies. German Zeppelins bombed cities, giant airships, silent and deadly. Later, Gotha bombers attacked. Civilians huddled in shelters, experiencing the first taste of aerial bombardment. Fear became a part of daily life alongside shortages and grief. The home front endured, waiting for the war to end. Section 8, the 11th hour, an end to fighting, a difficult peace. By 1918, the tide was turning. Germany launched a final, desperate offensive. It gained ground, then stalled. Allied forces, boosted by fresh American troops, pushed back hard. The Central Powers were crumbling. Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, Bulgaria, all sought peace. Germany stood alone, exhausted. Its people were starving, its army broken. The Armistice was signed on November 11, 1918, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The guns fell silent. An eerie quiet descended across the battlefields of Europe. People poured into the streets, cheering, weeping, feeling both relief and exhaustion. The leaders gathered in Paris to build a new world. President Wilson of America with his 14 points for peace. Lloyd George of Britain, Clemenceau of France, the Tiger. Each had different aims, different demands. The defeated nations were not invited, their fate decided for them. The Treaty of Versailles was harsh, especially for Germany. It had to accept blame for the war, pay huge reparations, lose territory and colonies. Its army was severely limited. Many Germans felt humiliated, betrayed, and resentful. The treaty aimed for peace, but it sowed seeds for future conflict. Section 9. Scars of a Generation: The Enduring Legacy of World War I. The Great War was over, but its shadow loomed large. The human cost was unimaginable: millions dead, soldiers and civilians alike. Millions more wounded, bodies maimed, minds shattered. A lost generation. Young lives cut short or forever changed by trauma. The Russian, Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian and German empires were gone. New countries appeared, old borders redrawn. Political instability followed. New ideologies rose. The world was profoundly altered. Soldiers returned home to a world they barely knew. They carried physical scars and invisible wounds. Finding work was hard. Readjusting to peace was harder. Their experiences set them apart. The camaraderie of the trenches gone. The war was called the war to end all wars. A tragic, hopeful phrase. It did not end war. Instead, it reshaped it and left unresolved bitterness. Memorials were built in every town, every village, names carved in stone, a promise to remember. But the lessons were hard, and some unlearned. The Great War's legacy is long and deeply felt even today.